What's up, movie lovers? It's your girl Rossie, and I'm back with a show. I miss you guys. I haven't done a review in some time, and so I've really been wanting to review Baby Reindeer. It's Netflix controversial hit series. I really enjoyed it, and I decided to bring my good friend Kim back to review this show with me. You guys know Kim. She sat with John and I for Movie Lovers Unite. What did we do? Super Bad, and we did
Pulp
what was the other
Fiction.
one? Pulp Fiction. We did Pulp Fiction. You guys can go back to the Movie Lovers Unite YouTube channel. You guys can watch that. It's still up. But let's discuss Baby Reindeer. Let's go, guys. What's up, Kim?
Hi.
How
Thanks
are
for
you?
having me. Really good.
Good. I'm so happy that you came back. So, guys, this is Kim Allport. She's my bestie, really. She's just the best person, my best friend. Absolutely love her. And we have been, for a month now, we've been talking about we got to do Baby Reindeer. We got to
Yeah.
do Baby Reindeer. But we're busy girls. We have things going on. We have real jobs that we do as well. But we love movies. We love viewing movies. And when we saw this series, we were just like, we got to discuss it. So let me read a little bit about Baby Reindeer. Okay, so it is a British Black comedy. It's a drama thriller. It's a miniseries created and starring Richard Gadd. He's who we'll get into it. Anyways, it from Gadd's autobiographical one-man show, and it stars Jessica Gunning, Nava Mao, and Tom Goodman Hill. The series consists of 7 episodes, and you guys, it premiered on Netflix on April 11, 2024. It received critical acclaim. Like, this is a really, really good series. And I remember seeing it on Netflix, Kim, and I saw Baby Reindeer, but I wasn't sure because I'm like, Baby Reindeer, what's that? Finally, everyone's like, you got to see it. So I sat and I was gripped by the first episode. What about you?
Oh, so well done. He's an amazing writer. So and actor. The actors in this is really, really good. But yeah, he definitely got me right away. It's a little creepy. It's a little creepy. The whole thing's pretty creepy, but I really enjoyed
Right,
it. Like I said, really well
right,
done.
right. Hey, Joe. Kim, Joanne said hi to you and
Hi.
Baby Reindeer. I know, Joanne, it's absolutely crazy, right? It's so crazy. So, guys, episode 1, let me pull that up real quick. So, episode 1, um, basic episode, really. I mean, there's this, it seemed like a lovely lady. She comes into Richard Gadd, who's his character that he's played is named Donnie, and he's a struggling comedian. So he works at this bar. He comes into the bar, or he's at the bar, and we meet Martha, who in real life her name is Fiona Harvey. Okay, and we'll get into all that. Anyways, so it starts off with just she comes in there, she seems kind of down, she's sitting at the bar, and it starts with the freaking tea, right? A free diet Pepsi or tea.
Well,
Kim?
he asked if he can get her a free cup of tea or whatever because she looks really sad. He like feels bad for her. But before
Right,
they even, the very first scene is him going into the cop station,
right, yes,
which they opened
yes,
it up the same way on episode 4, which I think is
right,
interesting. I'm not really sure why he did that. I think every time he's going to start a memory, he starts with the cop station, which I think is interesting.
right,
That starts at the cop station. He's telling a story, and then it goes to the bar, and there we meet Martha, and
right.
she is a very interesting character. You know what's interesting about her the most is I think we all know someone like her. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yes.
Someone a little bit like her. That's why it seems so believable.
Right.
It's supposed. Well, I don't know. I guess they're having trouble saying it's a docu-series now.
Oh,
Netflix.
really?
Yeah.
So let's see. What's up, John? How are you doing?
Hi, John.
What's up, John? So yeah, so when the show starts, it lets you know that it is based on real events. It's a true story, and it's been like that. Okay, things happen after it premiered and when it wrapped, and so there's a lot of controversy about this,
Right.
about it being true, if it's not true. Anyways, we'll get into that a little bit later. But the first episode, like Kim said, we meet Martha. She's really down, or let's go back to, it does always open up with him at the police station. He's letting the cop know he's being stalked. And what's really crazy about that is we're not used to men complaining about that or going through that. So we don't tend to take them seriously when they've been assaulted
Yeah.
or stalked by a woman. If it was a woman that went in there, don't you feel like it would be a little different?
Yeah, well, and the cop is not really taking him that seriously.
Not at all.
So I think we're supposed to feel that way. You know what I mean? I
Right.
think that's what he's saying. I think you're right.
Right. And he makes kind of a joke out of it. He shows the cop his phone, and it's something on there that the cop's just like, I don't see what the problem is. Okay.
Right.
So, and you don't really, I myself, I was thinking, I don't see where the problem is at that point. Like, did she really stalk him? But I feel like with that first episode, he was just being nice to her. He decided to pay for her tea or her Diet Pepsi every time she would come in. She started coming in every day.
Yeah.
Highly inappropriate with her conversations with him. And the fact that just because of that, the look in her eyes, she's in love.
Yeah.
Well, you can see that the spark. Go ahead, Kim.
The 80 emails a day is highly inappropriate.
Yeah, and I think it was so the first episode here, we have we are introduced to him as a comedian as well. It's not working out for him. It's not going well. And what did you think when they show him on the stage doing his first show and she's there?
I immediately was like, okay, like, what is she doing there? And then she starts singing, and it ends up being like she kind of saves his show.
Yes.
I still remember what she said to him afterwards when they're like sitting in the back.
Yeah.
They're like by the trash cans or whatever after the show. And she says, do you ever just want to unzip people and climb into them? And I remember just feeling like, oh, like, no, who's ever wanted to do that?
Right. And the fact that, I remember there was a scene, and guys, you know how we do it here. When I do a review, we're just going to talk about it. And we're going to tell you what the ending is. So by this time, everyone should have had a chance to see it. If you haven't seen it, like I said, it's streaming on Netflix. You guys can go there and watch it, but we're just going to discuss it. The fact that after that first encounter, when she starts coming back to the bar, and she comes back to the point to where his boss and other workers there are thinking that there's something going on. And so they give him a really hard time about it because they're like, messing with him, who's this gorgeous woman sitting here,
Yeah.
Why don't you ask her out? And going through that. And he's super embarrassed by it. He's know how to get out of it, and he ends up making a joke about hanging her drapes.
Yeah, the beef curtain.
Hanging her drapes and all that. And the thing about her is, you learn that he has to be careful with things that he says to her because she takes it like seriously. And from that point, when they were making fun of him in the bar, she thought they had a relationship because. Remember when he took her out when they met up for tea?
Yeah. Well,
even before that,
she's like, I really want to go on a picnic lunch date with you.
Yes.
And why he said no or yes, obviously because she makes him feel good about himself. And he was in a really, really low place in his life.
Absolutely.
I remember she even bought that picnic basket, which I think.
And brought it to the bar. Yes.
Really expensive. Like, I guess it's really expensive. Like, so he immediately was like, oh no, she's like serious about this.
Yes.
Date. And then he's like, we can't go on the picnic day.
Right. But when they were having a coffee or a snack at the little pub or restaurant, you remember when she freaked out all of a sudden and she starts yelling?
Mm-hmm.
I think at that point, he was scared of her at that point.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
didn't know what this was going to be. Like, I think she's kind of dangerous. I think I need to play her kind of lightly. And
Mm-hmm.
I even thought, wow, she's a nut.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
She's an absolute nut. But guys, what ends up happening is the after that meetup that they had, the emails that were coming through, the text messages. I mean, the first one that he showed, it was like 40 messages that came through. Just her, just messages.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, he's sitting on the side of the bed like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell is this? Like, we have a problem here.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Didn't you feel like he kind of start bringing that, like that he started to, I know he had empathy for her, but at a point it's like, dude, you're starting to cause this to be more than what it is. Like, I felt there's many times where he could have told her no. And I think he tried at times early on to say,
no, I don't know that it would have made much difference. This is obviously like, something she's done before,
right,
I think
yes,
she is the type of person that fixates on someone and can't let
yes,
it go. I
right,
mean, we both know, like Laura Ray, she didn't do anything to deserve that. There's no way
right,
she led this lady on,
right,
but she was still stalked by her for like 5 years. You know what I mean?
right.
So I'm not really sure he could have done anything. Obviously, I'm sure it didn't help, like him,
Yeah, the flirting, the allowing her
liking
to
the fact
flirt.
that
Yes,
his ego was being stroked by this lady, obviously.
right,
But I think, you know what's strange too, Rossie? Um, Rapists, stalkers, I think they kind of pick people that are down and out. You know what I
right,
mean? That
right,
I think they can see when someone's at a weak point, when and
right.
kind of use that. I think, and as crazy as this lady is, I think she's also smart. She's crazy,
Oh,
but she's
and
very smart
yes.
and very manipulative, so
Speaking of smart, so Fiona Harvey, who is the real woman in real life, um, she's a Scottish lawyer. She was a Scottish lawyer. So she's not an idiot, but she is a lawyer. But she presents to him that first after he buys her that tea or soda. She mentions to him she's a lawyer, and she starts becoming really chatty. She
mhm.
starts talking about she's the one that politicians call when they need someone
Yeah,
to speak for
start
them,
showing him
or
all her contacts.
right, yes, she makes herself really important, like she really is that. And I thought she was. I mean, I thought I bought that, like maybe she is. So we then find out episodes later, because Richard ends up, or not, I don't want to say that, Donnie ends up following her home one night because he's trying to figure out who is this woman. I believe was the night after she helped him out with his stand up, and they do the duet, and he kills the show. It was great. He's really happy. He leaves out. He sits next to her on the bench. She ends up going home, and he ends up following her home. Now, this person that's a lawyer, you would think, and the way she talks about herself, she has this wonderful life. She has this wonderful home. When you see him following her home and he's peeking in her window and you see where she's living at, what did you think about that scene? Her home.
I mean, I was pretty right on, right? I mean, it's what I thought her house looked like.
Right.
Well, not when she's describing herself as this famous
Right.
lawyer, which I don't know. I don't even know if she's been a lawyer or someone. We just know she went to she went to school to be a
Right.
lawyer.
Right.
I don't know if she's ever even been a lawyer to someone. Can we even call her that? I don't know.
Right. And I think that Laura Ray, guys, she's was Fiona's boss back in the 80s. She worked at a law. She was the law firm. Like, she was one of the partners of the law firm.
Yeah.
Fiona did work there.
Whatever,
and we'll get into that a little bit later about her real life and about other claims that they have out there against Fiona. But anyways, he ends up following her home. He lives in squalor. I mean, the house is a wreck. It's after you watch it for a bit and you see that scene, like Kim says, it's kind of like what I was expecting that. I thought though that she was a lawyer, and when I saw her place, I was kind of like taken back by it because I was like, oh my gosh, that's where she lives, that's what she does. So at that point, this woman is living in a fantasy world. She has no life. There are no friends. There is no importance about her, and she fell hard for Donnie. So I feel at that point we really have a problem here. Like, he has a huge problem here. Episode 2 starts, guys, and Donnie goes on a date with a woman he meets. Her name is Terry. Donnie is struggling with things, and you get to understand that there's something going on with him, especially when he meets Terry. He meets her on a blind date on his site. The site meeting trans women, and Donnie, he's going through something, so he lies about who he is. Terry knows him as Tony because he didn't want to put himself out there like that. Okay, so
the builder.
yeah, he doesn't want to do that, but he meets this wonderful woman. Her name is Terry. They have this date, and I think he ends up telling Terry at some point about Martha. Anyways, Martha finds out. That's another thing I want to discuss. Her going on his Facebook page and going back years. And remember, he said she made a comment on every single post that he posted going back years ago. And she had asking him about the girlfriend that he was dating, that he no longer dated. Yeah. And remember, she cornered him in that alleyway when he's putting up those bottles, and basically threatened him. Yeah, she threatened him and that's at that point, guys, she thinks she's in a relationship. He's like, what the hell? She's telling him, you should tell me where you're at. You let me know when you get home. You should let me know that you were already at work. I mean, it's nuts. It's absolutely crazy. Funny thing, though, what did you think about Donnie living with his ex-girlfriend's mom? I thought that was really cute. That I love that. I mean, who does that? That was really cute. What did you think?
I mean, I think it's sad. I think we walk into a really sad person. You know what I mean? Because comedy thing is sad. Where he's living is sad. I think
I was shocked. I thought it was cool. Cool in the sense of her mother, the girlfriend's mom, is just a wonderful person. Her name is Liz, the girlfriend's mother, Liz, and he and the girl breaks up with each other. She ends up moving out, going to school. He stays there because he became family, and her mom, Liz, let him stay there.
Yeah.
You see a little bit of their relationship. And even when he talks about it, he knows that this is pretty low. Like, this is where I'm at. Like, I'm living with my ex's mom. We're kind of like,
he kind of took advantage of the fact that she had just lost her son. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And she lost her son.
Yellow jacket thing.
Oh my gosh. Remember, he did not want to wear that jacket. And then you see him on the bus in the coat. And at that point, when you see them having dinner together, just the two of them watching TV, and then the coat, she insists he wears her dead son's coat. And when you see him on that bus, just that look is just kind of, oh my gosh, this poor guy. Yeah. This poor guy. And then he has this nut that is invading his life. And it's just craziness. But we go a little bit further there with Martha, because she does invade his life. She ends up finding out where he lives, and him coming home. Mm-hmm. What did you think about her being at his home with his, so-called mother, when she walks out of that room and he's just kind of like,
that's episode 3 with the cooking club, and she pretends her name is Sheila.
Yes.
Yes. I can't even imagine if this person was stalking me and I go home and there she is. Like,
there she is.
That's like basic instinct kind of stuff right there.
Yes, it is.
Like, that's like,
yes, it is.
Boil the rabbit. Like,
right. So, and the fact, guys, listen, after and he threatens her. He threatens her because the Liz, you know, tells her she can stay. She can sleep in a guest room. And she's, of course I'll stay. Donnie has to threaten her that I'll get the police involved. Never come back here. Leave me alone. And what does she do, Kim? The bus stop.
Yeah.
Across the street from his home. Every day he leaves out to go to work. She's sitting at this bus stop. He comes home. She sits at this bus stop and always yelling out Baby Reindeer or little nicknames that she has for him. Yeah. That at that point, even at that point, really, it's like, oh my gosh. She nearly froze to death one night. And he's such a good guy. He goes out there, sees her out there. Mm-hmm. It's cold. This was filmed in the UK. So you figure wintertime UK, it's cold. She's out there shivering. He goes to the bus stop. He gets her, wraps something around her, wipes her nose, takes her home, and they're in her home and they're chatting. And he's trying to tell her, like, we don't have a relationship. I don't love you. I just, and you would think at that point, it would have gotten through to her, and it didn't. I think him taking her home and doing that, I mean, don't you think at that point that really, really made her feel like he loves me?
Yeah, he cares about me.
Yes, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's an absolute problem.
I wonder if she ever left.
It's here's my question, just to go back. Do you think that she knew him before she walked into that bar the first day that we see them meet?
I don't think so. I honestly feel like she had just ended stalking someone else. I really do. I think it was finally at an end and she was feeling sad about it. And she walked in and he was there. And I think he was an easy target. As soon as he offered that free tea, she was like, oh, I can... This guy.
Here's my new guy. My new guy. Yeah. So that's a little bit of episode 3. So episode 4, we'll get into that. Now, episode 4 is a brutal episode because, let me go back to the end of episode 3 to get us there. So episode 3, he tells her to leave him alone. She ends up, he walks the same way home every day. He goes to this canal area. It scares the hell out of him because she's there. She's there. And he's telling her, he's very upset. He had just got into it with Terry because, and we'll go to that. He and Terry have a date. Terry is a trans woman. He's not quite sure about who he is. And we're going to find out why. And when we discuss episode 4, but what ended up happening is he and Terry go on a date. They have a really good time. She's a pleasant woman, really nice.
She's beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. Just like someone that would be great for him. Okay. I see why he liked her. Anyway, she's there on the train and she's trying to be affectionate with him. Now he has this thing about him where he doesn't want anyone to know will they see that she's a man? Will they know that she's a trans woman? Will they know any of that? So he's kind of not comfortable with himself and not sure. And so she's trying to, be lovey-dovey with them. They had a great time and the train stops and he's looking around at everyone because he thinks everyone knows. Yeah. And so, because he's in his head, he ends up getting off the train and just leaves her. And she's just, remember, he leaves her and she's in shock. So that's what happened between he and Terry. They had end up getting into it. He's walking back home at the end of episode 3. Baby Rain, or Martha, I want to call her Baby Reindeer. Martha is standing there at the by the canal, and she assaults him there. He's like, can you please leave me alone? He walks away. She's following behind him. That scene was so scary for me because the way she was looking, the way she was acting, I thought she was going to hurt him. She didn't care. She just didn't care about his feelings, about anything. It was basically like, you're mine. Yeah. You are mine. Any other woman, like in her head, they're in a relationship. Anyway, he ends up really going at her, telling her to stop. He ends up backing up against the wall and she gropes him.
Yeah, she assaults him.
And he just freezes up. You can tell that his eyes are tearing up. And she starts listening to his heartbeat. What did you think about that scene when she then assaults him?
Oh, it just reminded me of that whole thing where she said she wants to, you know, unzip someone and crawl inside them. She's,
Right.
you know,
Right. But his feelings, like you see it all over his face, like he's
yeah.
just
Well, you
helpless. He
know,
can't do anything. Go
the
ahead.
thing is that age, right? The early 20s
Yeah.
is so, people are so young and they're
Right.
trying to figure out who they are. I remember my early 20s, I felt lost, really
Yeah,
lost. You know?
absolutely.
And that's why it's so messed up when older people take advantage of
Right.
people in their early, you know, kids. You know, I'm not
Right.
saying he was a kid, but you know, you're
Still.
so lost at the age and you're trying to become a functioning adult, and you
Right.
know, the whole
Right.
world seems against you. And for somebody to take advantage of that, these older people to take advantage of that, is just, it's cruel. It's cruel, you know?
Absolutely. And it was cruel. There was nothing cute about it. There was nothing like, oh, because he's a guy, you would
Right.
probably think that he would want that or he's okay with that,
Right.
because we don't take guys and assault seriously. We just don't.
Yeah.
But anyways, that ends up happening to him. And then we enter episode 4. And episode 4, oh my gosh, you find out what the deal is with him and what happened to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Do you want to discuss that a little bit, Kim?
Yeah, but I was just gonna, because I think it's at the end of episode 3 that Martha hits Terry, right? They're in the bar,
Oh,
and I just
well,
wanted
yeah,
to
let's talk
briefly
about that
chat
though.
about that.
Let's talk about that though.
So he's so excited. Terry's coming to his comedy club thing.
Right.
He's like, can't wait to like show her, and she's brought her friends. You know
Right.
what I mean? So this is a big deal for him. Martha comes, ruins the whole
Wow.
thing. And you know, they end up going to a bar, you know, him and Terry afterwards.
Right.
And then, you know, they're sitting there, they're just made up. You know, he's like basically saying to her, I don't care anymore. I want to be with you. You know what I mean? And
Right.
here comes Martha, you know, and just
I didn't think she would attack the girl. I did not think she would attack the girl. You guys, she lost it. When she saw him with her, she loses it. I mean, I hadn't seen her like that. And I mean, she ends up calling the girl every name you can think of, attacks her, jumps on her, and just starts welling at her, hitting her, pulls a chunk of her hair out of her scalp. Poor Terry's just backing up against the wall because Terry thought, I can take her. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not scared of her. Terry's like, I'm going to, you need to leave him alone, blah, blah, blah. Well, and Martha just attacks. Go ahead.
This is where it jumps from verbally abuse to her being physically abusive to him. And
absolutely.
I mean, this is the moment where it jumps to being,
yes,
you know, she is now being violent. So
really violent. And, and then the last thing she says is, you look like a man. And for a trans woman to hear that, I mean, that's you already beat me up, and then you leave with that. The look on Terry's face was just horrifying. I felt so bad for her. And then she leans forward and you see that she pulled out her hair out of her scalp. Yeah. So that was in episode 3, you guys. Craziness, absolute craziness.
Heartbreaking.
It was absolutely heartbreaking. I felt so bad for her. She was
the actor that played Terry did such a good job in that.
She did a great job. Absolutely, really you guys. And I'll definitely go over the cast once we wrap it up and let you guys know some of the cast members. But yeah, she did a great job. Anyway,
the first time I think he finally stands up to her. After seeing Terry finally says to her, I can't remember exactly what the quote is.
It was right after, and they're trying to get
away
Martha
from me,
out.
Get out of my life. Yeah,
you're out of stay out of my life, right? And Martha goes, okay. So she realized, okay, I really went too far. You would think it'd be done and over with, of course, but how that goes. I mean, Anyways, though, so going back to episode 4, we find out what really happened to. No, it's okay. That was very important. But we find out what happened to Donnie. Donnie ends up going to another state or another part of the UK. He goes over there. He's doing and this is before he met Martha. Okay, this is way before. This is years before.
Yeah, starts
and he's
off at the
opening
cop
up.
station again, episode 4, and
Yes,
then he goes into a memory.
and he goes into the memory of what happened. So what ends up happening is he gets this gig at this small pub. He does a little comedy show each night. He ends a guy who's a well-known network person, and his name is Darian. And Darian makes promises to him. He wants to make him a writer. He ends up changing up Donnie's whole show at the pub to where they were selling out. I mean, his skit became very popular. He was selling out. I mean, the house was packed every night, thanks to Darian. Anyways, you want to talk about a little bit about he and Darian going to Darian's place and a little bit about what he went through?
Yeah, I mean, it's he basically gets him to go there because he's like, I want to write with you. We're gonna write together. This is Donnie's dream. To write something. He's an actor and a writer.
Right.
He writes. He takes a long time writing these. I think it was a 60-page. It pours his heart out, and it's awesome too. It sounds like it was awesome, and he doesn't want to write. He immediately kind of like throws it away. It's doesn't even bother with it. Pours him a drink and then immediately starts getting him,
yes, drinks, drugs, everything, getting him high. And I'm not talking about he's not smoking just weed. I mean, we're talking about drugs. Like, he gets him on drugs.
Yeah. And
unfortunately,
sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to point out that they say Darian is 55 years old.
Yes. And Donnie was 21 at the time, early 2021
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. He's very, very young and hasn't been exposed to this yet in his life, like he had at that little bar. So of course, when you have someone that helps you out, you become loyal to them because they helped you. And when you're in a situation where you want to be an actor, or a comedian, and you want to really, take your career to the highest level, and you meet someone like that, that's where, things like the casting couch comes up to where you do this for me, I'll let you have this role or whatever. You always think that it happens to women, young women. We never think about, does that happen to men? Do men do that? Or you never think about that because we see it one way, only women can be assaulted and raped and all that stuff, not men. So I thought it was really big of him to open up and let us know what went on in his life. And the fact that he's doing this Baby Reindeer series, a lot of people had issues with him, talking about her, throwing her under the bus, but really he could have done that. He opened up he told the whole truth of the story from what I get from it. Because if you're going to tell that these things happened to you and that you were a druggie, you were, sexually fluid, you were doing all these things. I mean, who wants to, especially a guy who wants to tell that to anyone, but he does get on drugs with Darian. And there is a scene where Darian assaults him. He takes advantage of him. Donnie wakes up and Darian's on him. Yeah. And what's sad about it is it's like Stockholm syndrome where, you're okay with what you're brainwashed. So you come back for more. You get what I'm saying, guys? Like he would go home and then he would go back to Darian's place. And I think the really sad part is when he does get raped by Darian, Darian puts him in a shower. He goes and gets in a shower. He's in the shower and he's in pain. Isn't he bleeding and stuff? Yeah. I mean, he's bleeding. He's in a lot of pain. He gets out of the shower. Darian comes with a towel and Donnie just hugs him and lays his head on his. What did you think about that scene, Kim?
I mean, I think Darian is the British P. Diddy. Let's be honest. Like, he's a horrible man. I'm sorry. I feel like he should have served time for that. And who knows
Absolutely.
how many other people he has done that to? Because,
Of course.
Donnie wasn't the first one. Donnie wasn't.
Absolutely.
This man
So
was 55 years old, I'm sure.
right. So that really screwed up Donnie's head. It screwed up who he was before he met Darian. He's now questioning his sexuality. He's going through a lot of this. He's meeting guys in clubs and having one night stands with them. I mean, his body's been violated. So he doesn't have any respect for his body because he's been violated. He's confused. He doesn't know what to do. And women go through that as well. I mean, when you're assaulted by someone, some women become more, what am I looking for, Kim? They become more.
Your confidence is completely lowered. So you don't have any. So you're looking,
Yeah, you're giving yourself away. You know what I mean? There's
anymore to say no.
There you go. And that's what happened to Donnie. So when the scene going back to when she says to him in the canal, someone's hurt you. And he's just looking at her kind of like, how does she know? And she says, and it was a man who hurt you. And we don't know at that point, but when you get to episode 4 and he goes back in his memories, then you realize what happened. And this went on for a long time, I would assume. It seemed like it was a long time that he was taken advantage of by Darian.
Yeah. Really sad.
It was a very sad. So that scene, really hard for me to watch because I heard about that scene and I was like, I don't. And I end up watching it and it was just brutal. I felt so bad for him. So we're now in episode 5 and Liz learns the truth about Martha and asks Donnie to move out of the house. And it's looking like a fresh start for him and Terry, but his persistent memories are stopping them from getting truly close because he ends up, episode 5, Terry ends up forgiving him for standing her up and doing that to her on the subway. Yeah. She knows. Terry's thing is this, like, listen, I'm not going to go back in a closet and hide from anyone. I'm living my life the way I'm going to live my life. And if you're afraid to live your life with me and you want me to hide inside the house, we can't do that. And Donnie does love Terry, but he still is having conflicts with being intimate with her because we know now why, because he's not sure. Go ahead.
Donnie's problem is he thinks he's only bisexual because of this encounter that happened to him.
Exactly.
Or he doesn't know. It might be because
he doesn't know.
Or it might be because he just is. And so he doesn't even know, which is so, because maybe he is bi and that's okay. But he doesn't even know why. You know what I mean? And I think that's why he's fighting it so hard, because if it happened organically where he was just like, maybe I'm bi, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm attracted, know, but because he thinks that it's because of this horrible thing that happened to him, he can't fully like give into it,
Yeah, right. He can't.
Why it's just, and again, like I said, early 20s, trying to figure yourself out. You don't even know who you are. And then something like this happens and now you're even more confused, So yeah, my heart breaks for him. He is in such
absolutely. Because like you said, he doesn't know if it's because of the assault that happened or is this because who I am? He doesn't know. So he's not comfortable yet with Terry. We do find out, I think it's in that episode as well. We find out that Liz's daughter, who's Donnie's ex, shows up and lets Donnie know, like, hey, there's this woman, your girlfriend is contacting me on Facebook. She's threatening me. She's doing all this stuff to me. Like, what's going on? And he's like, first of all, she's not my girlfriend. And, she's like, I don't care who she is, but this is going on. Liz, the girlfriend's mom finds out about what's going on because she tells her mom, and they make Donnie move out for safety concerns, just because we don't know who she is. And I totally understand that. So he goes, lives with some buddies, and go ahead.
She throws Diet Coke in her face.
That's right.
And so she actually assaulted her. I mean,
that's right.
And you've heard those horrible stories where people like throw acid in people's faces.
Yes. Remember when that? Yes.
And he just wasn't making that big of a deal. He's like, it's just Diet Coke. But I agree with them. Like, I'm with Liz and Keely. Like, there's a line there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yes, I agreed. I felt the same way. Like, we love you, Donnie. Liz absolutely adored Donnie, but we have to be safe here. I have to have you go. You cannot be here, with this woman out here like that. So you totally get it. Um, Also, I do want to mention there's a point where Donnie goes home. He goes home to go visit his family. And I really want to talk about this scene because this is really huge. When you first see him with his mom and dad, his dad is very just like that guy. You know what I mean? Just not very affectionate. Just that dad, loves his son, but not very affectionate. Anyways, he goes back because at a point he is writing this story about what's going on. And he has to let his parents know that, this may blow up. This may, it's going to be everywhere. So I need to let you know what happened to me years back and what's happening to me now. And so he's telling his mom and dad, and you can tell that there wasn't a lot of affection in the house. Like, they weren't very affectionate with each other, at least dad with his son. Anyways, so he tells his parents and he's sitting there and he's crying, telling them what happened. And it's so sad. Tell them about what dad exposes.
Just that he was also molested. It was the Catholic Church, I believe. And
yes,
he says that a priest molested him. And I think he immediately felt the same way. Is he gay now? Is he bi now? I think he really identified with his son. And I was shocked because I did not expect Gary to say that.
I did not at all. I did not expect that. I didn't. I was, and I remember crying because when Donnie's telling his parents, I want it was please hug him, please tell him you love him, please give him what he needs. And then when you hear about what happened with the dad and the church, the Catholic Church, and the fact that he was molested as a kid, and that bond that they have of both being assaulted just brought the family closer together. And I remember them crying and getting up and hugging Donnie, and he needed that so bad. He needed that so bad. So that was just a really powerful scene. And I love that he included that in the story, about his parents. Things do get serious. He does end up going and talking to that police man that he was trying to, let them know this is going on. And I believe they did take him seriously, but they needed more evidence and proof on everything. And I think he had that stuff on his phone, the recordings of Martha. And what did you think about that when he was listening to those headphones and you saw that he had, when he was writing the book, and just he kept all that?
I mean, that's episode 7, which is because like episode 5 and 6, his life is in the toilet. It's just getting worse and worse and worse until he sits down at that comedy club, and instead of doing his normal skits, he tells his story in front of everyone, and they take it, they put it on YouTube, and it changes everything. It changes his whole life and gives him all this confidence. And then episode 7 is like he starts running, he's like got a great job now. He's feeling really strong. He tells his parents that he's bi. His parents are like love him still. And then in episode 7 at the end, that's when he starts taping them and actually gets her charged with something. Again, we don't know, because the story is like, did she really? Because I think it was 9 months and 5 years restraining order. And I don't really know if she actually did 9 months in jail in real life, because she's saying that in real life, she's saying that never happened. She never was charged with anything. I do want to mention this though. At the end of that episode, there's 7 episodes. At the end of episode 7, I do want to mention that he goes into a bar. He's sitting there, and he orders a soda pop. He forgets his money, his wallet at home. The bartender says the same thing that he said to Martha that first day. I got, this is on the house. Don't worry about it. Anyways, he's listening to her as he's sitting there, listening to the audio that he has of her. And he has so many clips and audio, just so many of her talking. She starts to tell him about
where Baby Reindeer come from.
Yeah.
So the reason why she called him Baby Reindeer is because when she was a kid, she had this little stuffed reindeer, you know, big lips, you know, big eyes, and her parents would argue and fight a lot. So she would have this stuffed animal that was her safety net. And so it was a baby reindeer. So Richard Gadd, or Donnie, you know, he has the full lips. You know, to her, he looked like a little baby reindeer.
Yeah.
That's why she was calling him Baby Reindeer. So it gave you a little insight into what she grew up in, what she was dealing with in her childhood, which is really sad. He breaks down in that scene when she starts talking about that baby reindeer. And it's kind of like, okay, I get it. Still, she's still crazy. Something's not right. All of that, but you get it at that scene. It's really sad when you hear her, you know, telling about her story and that baby reindeer. So that's why she would call him that. I do want to mention that, you know, after this, it was, the show was really popular. She went on, Piers Morgan had an interview with her. And what did you think about that interview with her?
Oh, it was so telling.
Piers Morgan.
And also made us see, can you tell me the actress's name that played Martha again?
Yes, just a second. Let me, I was actually getting ready to pull that up for you. Let's see. Okay. So the actress that played her was Jessica Gunning.
Jessica Gunning. Thank you. Sorry. I mean, it just goes to show you what a great job Jessica Gunning did, right?
She did a
I mean, it was almost like they could be the same person. I was like, oh my God. Like,
absolutely.
And it also just made me believe that this really happened to him, you know?
Right. Absolutely. And you know, the problem, when I saw her on Piers Morgan, and you guys can go in and watch the Piers Morgan interview with her, it's still up on his channel. Anyways, when I saw it, some of the questions he was asking her, at first she didn't know who he, and then she, well, yeah, I met him at the bar once. Then it was, did you email him? No, I didn't email him. Then it was, oh, well, you know, I probably sent maybe one or two, because there was a joke that was going around in a bar, and I probably sent, so not 40 emails. She wouldn't answer that. She'd be like, who has time to send 40 emails? You're not, she wouldn't answer the question. When you guys see, and just look at her eyes when he shows clips of the show, it's odd. She did that shit. To me, she did that shit. Yeah. All day she did that shit. They just, Netflix went wrong with saying, based, like, this is a true story, not based on, you know, not any of that. It was, this is a true story. And them saying, well, we wanted to hide their identity, so we didn't want them to look too much alike. What? When you see Jessica Gunning and you see the real Martha, it's, and they found the real Martha with the tweets that she had sent. Isn't that how they found who she was?
That's her fault for being a psycho. You know, but
you know, like, so yeah. Okay. So I just want to mention that. So they're having a lot of issues because she's saying that it didn't happen. She's saying that he's making it up. And I do want to mention, guys, that in June 2024, she announced on Piers Morgan that she will be suing Netflix for $170 million. I don't know where that's going, whatever. I don't know.
I think she's bluffing.
I don't know if she's still going to do it. I haven't heard anything about it. But that's what she said that she's going to do. And really quick. So Donnie Dunn was played by Richard Gadd. He is the writer, the creator of this series. Jessica Gunning, we just mentioned, she plays Martha. Nava Mao, she is Terry. She's great. Let's see other, and Shalon Brune Franklin, she's Keely. Keely is Liz's daughter. That was Donnie's girlfriend. Okay. And let's see, I also want to mention, can I find Liz here? Is Liz here? Anyways, that's the cast. Okay. Ones that you will see all the time. All right. And then you guys can look up on their IMDb. You can find more about the cast and all that. Anyways, also, I want to mention Laura Ray. So there was another, there was a few people, but there was another woman that had accused Fiona of behavior, stalking behavior. So remember, Fiona says that she was a lawyer. Well, back in 88, I believe it was, she did work at a law firm. I don't know if she was a lawyer there, but she did work at the law firm. Laura Harvey was one of the partners at that law firm. And she had mentioned that Fiona would do things like have temper tantrums. She would go as far as to have other people that was trying to find lawyers there, go to other places, find other lawyers. She was giving their business away. She was accused at throwing a book during a meeting or something, and it hit someone. She also was accused of following one of the co-workers or partners home. So, you know, she said she never did this to Richard, but you know, like Laura, I believe what Laura Ray was saying, and you guys can go watch Laura's interview on Piers Morgan as well. I mean,
she seems very credible to me.
There's no reason why she would want to come out and lie about this woman. So I just wanted to mention that. Overall, I thought Netflix did a good job in picking up this story. I loved every episode. It was really good. I loved the awareness that they had in the episode about male rape, males being molested, and males being stalked. It's not just celebrities that are, you know, celebrity men, or that's, you know, has obsessive fans. Like, this was a regular guy who was a struggling comedian, worked in a bar, and a woman walked in and took his kindness for weakness and just ran with it.
Yeah.
What's your overall opinion and view of
I don't think she should be able to, you know, you did something wrong. He's telling a story of his life. He's not even, it's not even just about you. It's about, you know, what happened to him overall. You know,
it really was.
Someone should be able to write a story about the things that happened to them, and people should be allowed to read it, you know? And if you change the names, it's not like, it's your bad that you did these things. Maybe you shouldn't have done those things if you didn't want people to know, you know?
Right. And also have a history of doing those things. Yeah. Having a history there. We found out there's a history of doing those things. And he's not the first that complained about it. And like Kim said, in the first episode, it is as if she had maybe had someone that she was infatuated with. It was the end of that, walked into the bar, and, you know, poor Donnie is there, and he's the next victim. So really good. The actress, was it? She was great. It was really, I absolutely loved it. Watched it again today, watched all the episodes today, and I really loved it. But there's a lot of controversy about this series. You guys, let me know what you think. You know, watch it. Tell me what you think. Do you think that he went too far? Do you think that he should have not have written the story? Do you think that she's lying? Do you think that she's telling the truth? Let me know. You can reach out to me at movielovers.com, at movielovers@gmail.com, or hit me up at Rossie Talks at gmail.com. Tell me what you think about this series. Did you like it? Did you not like it? And some people are asking, you know, Baby Reindeer too. I don't see any need for that. I you know, I was reading, and some people are like, are they going to come back with a part 2 or season 2? I don't see any need for it.
I mean, I'd love to see like, you know, like a horror movie based off of it. Like, let's go all the way.
Let's go horror film based off of, maybe if he does a season 2, maybe it will be the fallout that's going on right now after he became popular and the series just went nuts, you know. Maybe he'll continue from there. I don't know. I think I've had enough of it. It's good. This was his story is amazing. I think it was great that he opened up, and I believe that helped a lot of people around the world, especially a lot of men around the world.
Yeah. I think that men are coming forward, which I think is great. I think
I do too. I do too, and I think it changes. Go ahead.
It's the whole thing with P. Diddy and what's happening with him, and people coming forward with that, and, you know, and us knowing that, you know, it doesn't just happen to women, and
Right.
I'm glad we're talking about it. I do. I'm glad we're talking.
Right. I absolutely do. And I think he started a great conversation about that. And even the whole P. Diddy thing, you know, what's going on with that, you know, that's actual proof. I mean, we know, we've seen that it does happen. These people are dressed, you know, wolves in sheep's clothing, you know, and if you're a dreamer and wanting things to happen, guys, beware. Young actors, young artists, young singers, beware of people like this that come into your life and offer you the world for a piece of you, you know. It's not worth it, you know. So anyways, Kim, I thank you for joining me tonight, and I'm so happy that we finally did this review. Thank you to my Unfiltered Studios family. I love you guys so much. And John DeGregorio, the host of Movie Lovers Unite. You guys can catch him Wednesday nights. He is reviewing The House of Dragon 2. Catch that. It's awesome series, and catch John with his review. Also, guys, next week, I have a guest that's coming on. She's a producer here in Sacramento, an executive producer with the Love and Child Studios. Her name is Griselda Garcia, and her and I are going to do a review and a rewatch of the movie Precious. We have a lot that we want to talk about, and that was such a really good film, but the horrors of that film, it happens in real life to people, to women, and Griselda and I will definitely be bringing that to you Wednesday. I believe that's the 24th, at 7 p.m. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys so much. Be good to each other, guys. All right. Enjoy your summer, and I will see you next week. Also, Mondays, catch me on Rossie's Clubhouse. I have YNG4L. What's up, youngin'? I have Mello. What's up, Mello, coming through. We're going to discuss their hit album, King Talk. I can't wait to talk to them about that, how they got together with that album. I know that they're really good friends, so I'm looking forward to seeing them. You guys can catch me on Rossie's Clubhouse. It should be in a link as well. And guys, that's it. Thank you so much. And we are out.